que permanezcan aquí conectados porque saludamos a esta hora a alguien que fue muy importante en toda la política de seguridad nacional durante el primer gobierno de Donald Trump. Me refiero al reconocido John Bolton, su ex asesor de seguridad nacional durante el primer gobierno de Donald Trump. Mr. Bolton, good morning and thank you very much for being with us.
Well, good morning. Glad to be with you.
Thank you very much. Let me start asking you about the differences regarding national security between the first and the second Trump government. Le pregunto al señor Bolton la diferencia en materia de seguridad nacional entre el primer gobierno de Donald Trump y el segundo gobierno de Donald Trump.
Well, I think the world today is much more dangerous, many more threats facing the United States and really the West as a whole. Certainly in the Western Hemisphere, though, things look very different to Donald Trump in the second term than they did in the first. In the first term, he worried about what we called the troika of tyranny, Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, and now he seems to be worried about Panama, Greenland, and Canada.
Excuse me, what was the last part?
Canada.
Yes.
He now seems to be worried about Panama, Greenland, and Canada.
Okay. No, él dice que el mundo hoy es mucho más peligroso. En el occidente las cosas se ven distintas para Donald Trump en este segundo periodo. Que en el primer periodo él estaba muy preocupado por la troika de Cuba, Venezuela, y el otro país creo que fue Nicaragua, pero que en este segundo periodo está muy preocupado por lo que pasa en Canadá, Groenlandia, Panamá, está mirando hacia otro lado.
Darcy, a Bolton se le recuerda por esa imagen famosa donde tenía la libreta de apuntes de color amarillo, donde tenía un manuscrito que decía 5,000 tropas para Colombia. Que generó mucha preocupación en su momento. Hago este contexto para preguntarle puntualmente qué anticipa podría ser la relación de Estados Unidos con Colombia y con Venezuela en el marco de la lucha contra las drogas y en el tema de la guerrilla.
We remember you with the notebook, 50 or 5,000 people or troops for Colombia, and that was, it had us very worried at the time. But now we want to ask you, what do you think of the relation between the United States and Donald Trump and Colombia? And is he worried about drug trafficking and everything that happens in Colombia?
Well, the 5,000 troops were really a reference, not for action against Colombia, but against Venezuela if necessary. But look, I do think the drug issue is a priority. It should be a priority, and it's part of the reason that Trump is so concerned about the Mexican border. But we face a common threat from these drug traffickers that operate almost with impunity in so much of the hemisphere, including obviously in the United States. So I hope that with Marco Rubio as Secretary of State, whom I've known for many years, with Mauricio Clave-Carón as a special envoy for the region, who was senior director for the Western Hemisphere for me at the National Security Council, I really think that the chances for generally a much more open policy between the United States and other countries in the hemisphere is real, and I think particularly with Colombia there are a lot of opportunities.
Bueno, él dice que la referencia de los 5,000 hombres no era en contra de Colombia, era más hacia Venezuela, ¿no? Era pensando en Venezuela y no contra una acción contra el país. Y considera que las drogas sí son una prioridad en la administración de Donald Trump, por eso está él muy preocupado con la frontera de México, pero también cree que con la llegada de Marco Rubio y Mauricio Claver-Carone, pues habrá una política mucho más abierta hacia Latinoamérica, particularmente hacia Colombia.
Le quiero preguntar al señor Bolton qué hará Trump con Maduro y Venezuela, negociar, invadir. Mr. Bolton, what do you think is going to do President Trump with Venezuela, with Nicolás Maduro? Is he going to send troops or negotiate?
Well, I don't think he'll send troops, and I hope he doesn't negotiate. I think the Biden administration made a severe mistake when it agreed to ease the sanctions against Maduro in return for Maduro's promise to hold free and fair elections. I don't think Maduro ever had any intention of making that commitment work. So I think we're now in a situation where the Venezuelan people have seen their economy in free fall for years. We have this autocratic regime still in place. I'd like to see the Lima Group from back at the 2018-2019 period. I'd like to see the Lima Group reconstituted and have a strong hemispheric-wide position against this dictatorship in Venezuela. It's doing terrible things to the people of the country. It's allowing the Russians, the Chinese, the Cubans, the Iranians to look after their interest inside Venezuela to the detriment of everybody in the hemisphere. I think we've got to give the government back to the Venezuelan people.
Él dice que hubo un gran error por parte de la administración Biden de bajar las sanciones contra Venezuela creyendo que iba a haber unas elecciones libres como había prometido Maduro. Claramente no las hubo. Él nunca pensó en cumplir en esa promesa. Y él básicamente lo que dice es que quiere ver a grupos como el Grupo de Lima otra vez fortalecidos y con una posición fuerte en la región, que lo que está pasando pues en Venezuela es absurdo, que están los intereses rusos, los intereses chinos y que es urgente devolverle Venezuela a los venezolanos.
El señor Bolton era una de las personas más cercanas a Donald Trump en la anterior administración y hoy en día es uno de sus mayores opositores. Incluso Trump dice que no contrataría a nadie recomendado por Bolton y le quitó, esto es noticia de ayer, le quitó la seguridad. ¿En qué momento pasó esto? Mr. Bolton, you were one of the closest people to President Donald Trump in the past administration, but the relationship now is so bad that he even said that he wouldn't get anybody that has been recommended by you. What happened in that relationship? What did you notice about Donald Trump that you didn't notice at the beginning when you started working with him, but that deteriorated until this relationship the way it is?
Well, I came to conclude, working with him closely on a daily basis, that he really wasn't fit to be president. I had thought, like every other president before him, that he would be disciplined by the gravity of the responsibilities that he had, certainly in the national security field, and the significance of decisions that he made. But I came to find out that he was not disciplined, could not be disciplined in his thinking. He didn't have self-discipline at all, and that he didn't have a philosophy. He didn't have a national security strategy. He didn't do policy as we conventionally understand that term. And I think all of this contributed to a great concern that inadequacy that Trump demonstrated was very dangerous for the United States and its allies.
Bueno, pues él dice básicamente que es que él creía que era un presidente disciplinado, serio, que estaba consciente de las responsabilidades que tenía en el país, pero que se dio cuenta que no tenía disciplina, no tenía autodisciplina, no tenía filosofía, no tenía nada claro frente a la seguridad nacional, no tenía unas políticas claras y le pareció simplemente que era inadecuado para ser presidente de los Estados Unidos y que también era un gran peligro para los Estados Unidos.
Le voy a preguntar al señor Bolton por una columna que publicó recientemente en el New York Times diciendo que él cree que el presidente Trump va a esperar más adoración que lealtad a las instituciones en este periodo por parte de sus funcionarios. Mr. Bolton, recently you wrote an article for the New York Times saying that Trump expects more fealty than loyalty and that could be dangerous for the institutions. Is that something that is going to happen in this period?
Yes, I think we can see it happening already. Even just 2 days into office, Trump continues to demonstrate he has no discipline. He talks about 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico one day, 60% tariffs on China one day, 10% another day. Now, a lot of this is just bluster, but when he refuses to rule out the use of force in connection with Greenland or the Panama Canal, he's hurting his own objectives, and there obviously are not people around him who are willing or able to explain to him that, as we say in the States, he's getting in his own way. He's making it more difficult by his actions to achieve the very objectives that he says he wants. And I think that's dangerous. It's one thing to surprise your adversaries. It's another thing to insult and surprise your allies, because it's simply going to hurt in the long run, probably in the near term.
Pues él dice que solamente lleva 2 días en la oficina y está demostrando nuevamente que no tiene disciplina, que habla de 35% de terrorismo en Canadá, otro día dice 60% en China, habla del uso de la fuerza en Groenlandia, en Panamá, dice que se está haciendo daño y que no tiene gente que le diga que se está autosaboteando, que está atentando contra sus propios objetivos y que está insultando a sus aliados.
Quisiera saber cómo analiza el señor Bolton la decisión de Trump de incluir a Cuba en la lista de países terroristas. ¿Qué mensaje se está dando por parte de Estados Unidos a la guerrilla del ELN? Mr. Bolton, how do you analyze Trump's decision to include Cuba on the list of terrorist countries? What message is the United States sending to the ELN guerrilla?
Well, I think the fact is that the Cuban government has been a supporter of state sponsor of terrorism because of its cooperation with Iran, which is also a state sponsor and one of the world's most important state funders of terrorism. I think it's important to distinguish real threats that are terrorist and to try and do it in a way that doesn't create obstacles to dealing with the main terrorist threats. But I don't think Trump has entirely thought this through. I think the Cuba decision was simply reversing something Biden had done, which he spent much of the last 48 hours doing. I think it's part of that rather than a picture of a bigger policy.
Pues sí, dice que en efecto si Cuba y el gobierno cubano ha sido un protector de terroristas, ha ayudado a Irán, que es el gran auspiciador del terrorismo en el Medio Oriente. Pero él cree que esta decisión la tomó Donald Trump simplemente por reversar algo que había hecho Biden, como ha hecho con otras cosas en las últimas horas, pero que él realmente no es consciente de lo que está pasando y de lo que significa Cuba en el continente.
One last question, Mr. Bolton. We know you have a very busy agenda, and this question is regarding Colombia. What's your feeling about the relationship between Donald Trump and President Gustavo Petro, and how would things change for Colombia with Trump's government? ¿Cuál es la diferencia, cuál es la relación que se va a dar entre Gustavo Petro y Donald Trump, y qué le puede venir puntualmente a Colombia en este gobierno?
Well, it's a fair question, but a hard one to answer. I think Colombia's policy on 3 things could tell you a lot about how the Trump administration will react. Number one, its views on the Maduro government next door and what we should do to get government back in the hands of the people rather than the Maduro clique. Number two, how the Colombian government treats the concern that Trump has about drug trafficking. And number three, the issue of illegal immigration, which, for example, the president of Panama, before he found out Trump wanted to take the canal back, had offered to work with us at the Darien Gap in terms of illegal immigration flows. So that obviously directly implicates Colombia, and that's why I think illegal immigration would be the third area. If there are ways to work together in those three, then I think relations with Trump could be good.
No, él dice que esto va a depender de 3 cosas básicamente y de las posiciones de Colombia frente a 3 cosas. Maduro y lo que está pasando en Venezuela, si Colombia va a ayudar a que se restablezca la democracia. La guerra contra las drogas, por supuesto, es un tema siempre importante, y la migración ilegal. Eso tiene que ver con qué tanto está Colombia dispuesta, y Panamá también, a trabajar con el cruce de migrantes ilegales a través del canal, y que pues si Colombia tiene una buena posición frente a estos 3 temas, no va a tener ningún problema con Trump.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bolton, for being with us this morning. We appreciate very much your time and your answers.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Glad to do it.
Thank you very much. Es el señor John Bolton, el reconocido ex asesor de seguridad nacional durante el primer gobierno de Donald Trump. 829, la FM, las noticias como son.
En TQ nos mueve la